College basketball is winding down. We are at the Final Four. Florida, Auburn, Duke, Houston. A lot of people will be getting their eyes on Cooper Flagg for the first time this weekend, probably. He's a pretty good basketball player, I guess.
Yeah, I would say so.
Plays for Duke.
Going to be the player of the year as a true freshman and probably lead them to a national championship.
He scores that ball. He passes that rock.
You're doing great.
He puts it in the basketball ring a lot. You know?
Mm-hmm. You and Teddy Cruz.
Yeah, so the NBA scouts are out, and they are tossing out their Cooper Flagg comps.
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed that there's only one white. I mean, normally when we're comparing guys, we have to stick whites on whites.
I've got 5 of them here.
Mm-hmm. But only one is white.
Yeah.
I like that we're evolving, or there just isn't enough white guys that we can be like, yeah, that's him. Like, I was trying to think of like a 6'9", rangy, do-it-all white guy, and like the only one I can think of is Larry Bird, but you're saying they're not going Larry Bird.
Nope. More modern than Larry Bird.
More modern?
If you're looking for the white guy.
But you said he's not in the league currently.
He's not.
Who else is like a tall, rangy...
He was very tall.
Well, I would assume so. Flagg's like what, 6'8", 6'9"?
Sure.
Sure.
They going like even taller, like a Dirk Nowitzki type deal?
He doesn't shoot like Dirk, and Dirk didn't have an all-around game like that. That wouldn't be. Maybe you're going like a Rick Barry if you want it, but that's old school. Chris Mullin.
They have Flagg at 6'9". This guy 6'9".
6'9".
Yeah.
I can't think of someone that's white that has kind of an all-around game like that.
The white man they compare Cooper Flagg to is none other than the great Andre Kirilenko.
Wow.
Thank you.
I should have got that. I should have got that. I can see that because Kirilenko was a big deal for a little while. He never quite lived up to the hype, but he was awesome. He was kind of the Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
You know, he's probably most known because his wife let him once a year go out and do whatever he wanted. Kirilenko was really good. He just didn't, like I said, never quite grabbed anyone's attention the way a true star does. Well, look at his numbers.
So what they've done is they've broken this down into, okay, so they have a comp. Like they have a ceiling comp, like what he can be at his best.
Sure.
They have a floor comp, what he will be at his worst. They have an in his prime comp, a second star comp, and then the left field comp. And the left field comp was Andre Kirilenko.
Okay. I was going to say, because, I'm looking.
That is kind of out of left field.
Yeah. I mean, Kirilenko had some good numbers, but,
he led the league in blocks.
Did he really?
Yeah.
There was a couple times he was he got Defensive Player of the Year 3rd. He was an MVP. He got some MVP votes one year, but he was never, he was a 12-point guy. He was a 12-point guy, 5 rebounds. I can see if you're trying to do a defensive comp, and again, a little bit of a Swiss Army life, but Cooper Flagg is a much better prospect than Andre Kirilenko. Although both terrible haircuts.
Ceiling comp. Who do you think they compared him to?
Ceiling comp.
This is real NBA scouts here.
All right, give me the.
So he's currently playing. He is a superstar player. He's 6'7".
Superstar player currently playing, do everything.
Bit of an enigma, this guy.
Jaylen Brown.
Oh, that's a good guess. I think, is he 6'7"?
Yeah, he's 6'6", 6'7".
Is he?
Yeah, he's tall.
Yeah,
guy.
no, not Jaylen Brown.
Is this a guy who's hurt a lot?
Yes. He is.
Oh, the Claw. It'll be
Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard.
Yep.
Huh.
The NBA front office take is Flagg's really good defensively and can be a game changer on that end pretty much immediately with his size, effort, and IQ. He's always been a very good defender, and the offense is coming along. It's a very similar path to the one Kawhi was on early in his NBA career as a guy who had all these really useful qualities and then entered as a real two-way force as he rounded out his game.
Dude,
that is true.
I can 100% see that.
You kind of forget Leonard was not
No.
right out of the gate
No.
was not this
Nope.
superstar player.
No, he was viewed as an afterthought there, not an afterthought, but he was not the focal point in San Antonio. And then he was a begrudging star. And then, it wasn't really until after he left San Antonio where it was viewed as a marquee, and he went up to Toronto and won that title. And, there was a while there where people flirting around and were asking, is he the best player in the league? I think that is a really, really good comp. At his best, what he could be,
yeah.
I could see that because there was nothing that he couldn't do.
So what about the floor comp? This guy was 6'10", top 5 pick, but he was big and rangy, tall and rangy, length for days, but just was kind of a bonehead. Drug problem.
Is he still in the league?
For a while there, I was
No.
thinking like Sean Marion. I was thinking like the
Marion?
Marion, the Matrix. Drug problem.
Yep. That ought to give it away.
Famous drug problem.
Yes.
Famous drug problem.
Yes.
Who am I missing out of famous?
He's not in the league anymore. Helped win some titles.
Kardashian boy.
Yep.
Lamar Odom.
Lamar Odom.
Okay.
They write, just the ease and comfort level handling the ball on the perimeter. We talk about whether guys are inside players who develop outside or perimeter players who take their game down low. Flagg has had such comfort on the perimeter. Odom filled out and was a late growth spurt guy with ball skills. You love a guy who at 6'10" can play with the faculty of being a 6'3" guard.
I'll tell you right now, if Lamar Odom didn't have his massive drug problem,
He was good.
And that's who you ended up being, there is nothing wrong with that.
Odom averaged 17.5 points, 9.5 boards, and 3.8 assists.
Isn't it funny? Like there was a recent one where someone said that Shedeur Sanders, their comp was Andy Dalton, and people got all pissy about it. And they're like, dude, that's a hell of a career. Like, not everyone goes on to be, Larry Bird or Michael Jordan. And so obviously there's higher expectations on Cooper Flagg than that. And you could say that'd be a disappointment, but if he had Lamar Odom's career minus the drug problem and he played 15 years in the league, that is not a bust. That's far from it. Even if you look at all the number one overall picks, there is nothing wrong with that career minus I think it was what he OD'd on like drugstore boner pills.
Wait, is he dead?
No, but he almost died.
Oh.
He was at like the Bunny Ranch and he was on a bunch of drugs, and then he was taking boner pills and like synthetic, what was
he taking zombie or spice?
Something like that.
He fell off the deep end
Yeah,
once him and Chloe broke up.
It was bad.
Broke him.
In his prime comp, now this guy is 6'8". He is a star right now. He went to Duke, and there are some similarities with how he was talked about coming out of Duke that compare to Flagg.
Then
it's an interesting one.
I missed on Brown. It'll be Tatum.
It's Jason Tatum
coming out of Duke.
And I think this is a really good comp for Flagg.
Yeah, a little bit of do everything.
Yeah.
And Tatum and that what was the always knock on Tatum is that he wasn't great at one particular thing. And it's taken a while for people to appreciate his game, but there is nothing that he can't do.
Well, at the time when he was coming out of Duke, they were questioning Tatum's shot a lot. But that's obviously, he's put that to bed.
Yep.
And they're kind of questioning Flagg right now on that.
Yeah, the only other one I've heard, the shot, and then I've heard some people say that his ball, like he handles the ball a lot at Duke, and they're saying that they don't know if in the NBA if he'll be able to handle the ball nearly as much as he does at Duke. Is he a good enough ball handler to play a point forward type? Because he's probably going to play the 4. He'll be a stretch 4 in the NBA. And is it LeBron where he can bring the ball up and you run your offense through him? Or does he struggle a little bit with that or maybe take some time?
And then the last comp from real live NBA scouts for Cooper Flagg of Duke, second star comp, meaning if he is not the number one guy on a team, who is his comp? And this is a pretty obvious one.
Current or former?
Old.
old if he's not
So he's the number 2 guy on the team.
the number 2?
Because we're all assuming he's going to be the superstar
guy.
of a team. But maybe he won't be. Maybe he'll be a number 2.
Chicago.
Yep.
You going Pippen?
Scottie Pippen. They write, I say Scottie because he could have been a number 1 guy and was after MJ left, but he became by far the best number 2. I think Cooper will be a hell of a number 2, but he might need a top 10 player running mate with him. He can obviously prove me wrong, but I don't see him as a number 1 guy on a championship team in his career.
Well,
That's from a general manager in the East.
It's interesting the idea of the number 2 thing, right? Carmelo Anthony just got he's found out he's going into the Hall of Fame. And Carmelo Anthony is he top 10 all time in scoring?
He's 10th.
10th. So 10th all time, bunch of NBA All-Star teams, gold medals. Carmelo Anthony, one of the great scorers in the NBA. He could never take a backseat role, right? Forced his way out of Denver, ended up in New York, couldn't share the spotlight in New York. Even when he was in Houston and Portland, not coming off the bench, I'm the guy, would never play a subservient role. And as good as Carmelo was, Carmelo never really did anything in the league. His teams never threatened anything. He made one conference final, I think, in Denver, and then he forced his way out either the next year or the year after that. Wanted to go play in New York. But when he's with the Olympics, dude, everyone on the Olympics claims Carmelo Anthony was one of the great teammates of all time and one of the great Olympic players of all time because he would defer. Imagine what Carmelo Anthony could have been had he just been a number 2, right? As great as Scottie Pippen it was, Scottie Pippen could have been Carmelo Anthony, or he could have been Scottie Pippen. There's nothing wrong with being the number 2 to someone. And so, it's like, oh, is he a Batman or is he a Robin? God, I'll tell you what. If the idea is to be Carmelo Anthony and be a Batman, or to go be Scottie Pippen and be a Robin to Michael Jordan, or Kobe and Shaq, or Tim Duncan and Ginobili, or Tim Duncan and Parker or whatever, or any of these guys, go be a Batman somewhere. Go ask anyone if it's fun to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Pippen versus Melo.
Yeah.
Pippen all day.
Exactly.
Career.
So we have this
all day.
This goes back to when you compare someone to an Andy Dalton, or you compare someone to Lamar Odom, you're like, oh, that's a terrible comp. Why? Why is that a terrible comp? So, he's never a number 1. Cool. He's the best number 2 of all time. Plenty of Hall of Famers out there were number 2 guys, and they've got lots of rings and lots of money. And if you're Cooper Flagg, God, you want to go to Washington and just sit by yourself for a number of years? Or would you rather go someplace where you can learn under a true 1 and kind of grow? Go ask Dame how fun it is to be a 1 with nothing else around you.
Yeah, like Cooper Flagg coming to Portland and just suckling at the teat of Denny Avdia. Is that what you mean?
That's clearly what I mean. Well, there's another one. This discussion's been going on for a while now of how good Denny is. And I think I don't remember if it was Dirt and Sprague or if it was Danny and Dusty. I forget which one it was.
Do you mean Allen and Braden?
Allen and Braden. I think that's who it was. I think it was Allen and Braden. And they said Denny would be a solid 2 or one of the best 3s in the NBA. And then, of course, everyone's, it's ridiculous. And it's so true. You can go be a 2 or a 1 and put up 25 a night on a dip-ass team and just empty hollow numbers. Or you can go be the best 3 in the NBA and try to win NBA championships somewhere. It's like they're not all 1s are created equal, not all 2s, and not all 3s are created equal. Like in the NBA, you can say, oh, this guy's a 1, but how many true 1s are there that really, really move the needle? Damian Lillard was a first-team All-NBA guy multiple times, and Dame never moved the needle by himself. Giannis was a number 1, and Giannis moved the needle. Giannis won a title. LeBron moves the needle. And there's just not many of those guys. So even when you're the 1, there's a pecking order. You're like 1 or you were like 1.6.
Well, you got to give LeBron credit. I heard an interview with him the other day where he said, the first thing he told Luka was, we need you to be at your best if we're going to win.
Yeah.
In other words, LeBron is now a number 2.
Yes, he is.
I mean,
and arguably,
and he knows it.
And he's arguably the best 2 in the league and doesn't try to be the 1 until he needs it.
He has to. And that's the thing. That's the difference one of the differences between LeBron and Melo right there.
Yes. Carmelo Anthony would have been an amazing 2 or 3 on a team. He would have.
But wait, somebody said Denny Avdia is a like a 2 or a 3 guy?
Yes.
Star on a team?
That's what they were. I think it was Alan and Braden that were saying that Denny could be a average 2, but a great 3. He should be the 3rd best player on a team.
Is he? I don't know if he's that good.
He could be. But the idea that he could be a dominant 2 or a dominant 1, you're like, okay,
not a chance. Like,
no.
who is saying? What is happening?
Welcome to Portland, man. This is what we do. The guy's having a great month, and we're like, oh my God, how good can he be? You're like, stop it.
Don't you think on a championship team he's like a 6th man?
I mean,
he could be a starter, but it would be one of the weaker of the 5.
I think if you were to look at the Western contenders like right now, and look, he's only 24 years old. He's going to get better. But if you looked at the Western contenders, he is not a 2. He is a solid 3 or a 4 in today's NBA. Could he grow and develop into something? Maybe. But right now,
all right. There's your hot Cooper Flagg talk. But I have more. Wait, I have more. I have a trivia question for you. Do you like sports trivia?
Sports. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
I bet you don't get this one right.
Oh, let's do it.
You should see it in his eyes, guys. I can tell you he is pissed now.
And someone else
He's been
pointed out,
challenged.
like Jaylen Brown, great 2. Great 2 in Boston.
Yeah, and not a 1.
And not a 1.
He's just not.
If Jaylen Brown decides, F you, I'm going to go lead my own team, dude, welcome to obscurity, Jaylen Brown.
You know who's another great 2, I think, and not a 1 is Booker.
Yes.
Devin Booker.
Yes. Draymond Green is a phenomenal 3. Klay Thompson was a great 2. Neither one of those guys would be Hall of Fame players if they had left Golden State. But they stuck around, and they played with a true 1 in Steph Curry, and were phenomenal 2s and 3s.
And by the way, for those just tuning in, we are not talking about positions.
No.
We are talking about 2nd or 3rd best player
Pecking orders
on their team, like
Yes.
Jordan Pippen.